It's Jump Month! Where movies come out that aren't really good enough for a better release date, but aren't quite bad enough to be canceled outright.
We started off 2025 with A Better Man, but we needed something to compare it to, so we circled back to 2024 and watched A Complete Unknown.
Going into this movie, I thought it was pretty much just Oscar bait. So for those of you who don't know, Oscar bait is just a movie with a lot of money thrown at it, with usually a higher known actor or an upcoming actor like Timothée Chalamet in a lead role that will get them some awards come this award season.
I went into it probably a little extra hyped because the marketing really got to me, saying it was the best movie of 2024 and whatnot.
Which is actually Nosferatu.
Which is not, and I'll die on that hill. You can watch that video here. But Timothée Chalamet is where I got really excited about this, just because I really love Dune. I loved him in Dune. I was curious to see, does he have that A-lister acting ability to do a different type of character? And he does.
He does, yeah. Timmy C, he's good.
The acting in general throughout this whole movie was phenomenal, but where this movie falls short, and I mean really short, is the story. It is literally non-existent. I would describe it as just a bunch of newspaper headlines that somebody cut out and then just said, okay, let's put these in order and let's make a movie out of that. There was no drama to it for me, no suspense, no struggle, just empty story.
You would think going into this movie that it was more of a Bob Dylan story told from his point of view, when in actuality, it's very much somebody who just has observed Bob Dylan and has written that story down. But one main takeaway I had from this movie was Bob Dylan's got that dog in him. He got that dog in him. You know what I mean. Comment down below if you know somebody who got that dog in him.
Timmy C's portrayal of Bob Dylan was, I think, spot on. Like, physically, he looked like Bob Dylan. He sounded a lot like Bob Dylan. You actually prefer his versions, don't you? I
did, yeah. I really enjoyed his versions on Bob Dylan songs. Personally, I'm not a huge Bob Dylan fan, but I found that the music that they put in this was really enjoyable.
I gotta give a lot of props to this movie for really nailing the 1960s theme. They had a lot of props in there that really looked kind of like a little old and grungy. The microphones had tape on them and whatnot. A lot of details were well done throughout this whole movie. There was one detail that really bothered me though. It was during one of the live performances. They had a drum set in the background and it was made for a left-handed drummer. And when the actor came on to play the drum set, he did a click noise to start the song, and he did it like this. And if you notice what I'm doing it with my right hand, not my left hand. A left-handed drummer would not have done it with his right hand. The actor is right-handed, playing on a left-handed drum set, and I caught that. It doesn't affect the movie whatsoever, but we're drummers, so we caught that thing. So now, look for that when you go to see this movie.
Circling back to the storyline, because that's really where all of this kind of falls apart for me, it felt like a lot of the drama was inserted. What I mean by that is, like, during some scenes, they would start off happy and kind of lighthearted, and then out of nowhere, they would turn and Bob Dylan would be fighting with his girlfriend, or out of nowhere, he's fighting with a long old-time friend or somebody that he had met before. It just comes out of nowhere. There's no reason for any of it other than to put tension into the film where otherwise there isn't any. Another point that I have a hard time with in the film is right off the bat, it seems like Bob Dylan writes gold just from the beginning. And I don't think that's true. I don't think that we see any of the struggle in there. There's no struggle throughout this entire film. And ultimately, I think that undermines the entire movie itself.
So I'm going to go through a couple of my own notes that I made, and it agrees with you as well about him writing gold. Right off the bat, about 5 minutes into this movie, I wrote that I'm skeptical because he's already really good. And if he's already really good, then what is this story going to be about? That was my question on here. Ultimately, I still don't really know. About maybe 20 minutes into the movie, I made the statement saying that this movie is very much a this happened, then this happened, then this happened, then this happened. And there was never really actually a plot. There was no drama, there was no struggle, nothing tied in with each other. And that was my point earlier about the newspaper headlines just being in chronological order. It felt very much more like a documentary maybe. But to your point too, it felt like somebody who had a perception of Bob Dylan from the outside telling this story. And when we looked at the writer and the director, I think you might be right about that one.
Recommendation time. Do you recommend this movie?
I definitely do not recommend this movie whatsoever. I did not enjoy myself at all. Here's how I'm going to describe this movie. It's a movie about a white man born in America who has all these privileges and everything goes right in his favor. And if he's mad or upset about something, he'll complain and he'll get his way and there are no negative consequences. And the story was written by an old white man born in America who probably had a similar background. It's the 1960s. There's so much drama going on during this time and they utilize none of it. They mentioned the Cold War, but not really anything about the civil rights going on. It didn't impact Bob Dylan's life at all. He just scooted on by.
And that comes to my recommendation, which is also don't go see this movie. They pretty much boil down Bob Dylan to being at the right place at the right time, and that's all he owes his career to, which I don't think is the whole truth. And sadly, it makes for a very uninteresting movie.
My overall score for this movie is a reluctant 5 out of 10. I feel like maybe it should go lower, but my scoring system says otherwise. The acting saved it for me. What about you?
I give it a 4 out of 10. I was gonna give an extra point for the story, but after looking over my notes and discussing it with you, I don't feel like it deserves it. And if it doesn't deserve it, then it doesn't get the point.
Thank you for liking and subscribing. We strongly recommend you go see Better Man instead of this movie. Our review is up in this corner. Bye.
Remember, we're just two regular dudes.
Oh.
Bye. It's 2025. You fucking forgot our
Never
whole
mind,
shtick.
because we're just
Two regular dudes doing regular reviews.
So my turn?
Mm-hmm.
My turn.
Oh wait, hold on.
Never mind.
I thought